All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Under the Radar, where today this will be my last episode of 2016, so I decided to play something pretty weird and pretty fun, even compared to what I normally play. So this is Guerrilla War, which is one of the first games I ever played, actually. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get started, and I'll explain why this game is super weird here in a bit. But yeah, it starts out, it's a pretty typical run and gun NES shooter, but it's a lot of fun in the way it's designed. It's got some pretty great background music too. But what makes this game particularly weird, though, is that the people I'm fighting, well, I guess I should explain it better. The character I'm playing as is actually Che Guevara, and this is actually, oh geez, I just killed those hostages. I'll talk about that in a bit. But anyway, this is the Cuban Communist Revolution in NES pixelated 8-bit glory. Which, yeah, you might think that's a little weird for there to be an NES game based on the Cuban Revolution, especially in the 80s, considering, you know, US relations with Cuba at the time. But I guess that SNK, who are the developers of this game, did not really care about US-Cuba relations, so they released their Cuban revolutionary game anyway. Now that said, of course, the American version, which I am playing here, is kind of scrubbed of the name references. But I mean, it's still pretty obvious if you look at it. But yeah, oh geez, I'm getting all these. I think this is the best power-up. Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite things. So this tank. I can get a tank, and now I can just murder everybody in tank form. The problem is, I don't want to kill the hostages. Because despite what your opinions on the actual historical events of this time period are, I don't want to be a bad guy. But yeah, what's funny about this too is that as player 1, I'm playing as Che Guevara. Oh geez, my tank's gonna die. If I stay in the tank when it blows up, I die too. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Nah, blow up. What's L? I can't remember what all the good weapons are. Oh well. L is pretty good, I guess. I mean, anything's pretty much better than your regular weapon. But anyway, so if you're playing this 2-player, the second player is actually Fidel Castro, which I thought was an interesting coincidence because this is a game I've been wanting to play on the show for a while, especially since it's one of the first games I've ever played. But yeah, actually, Castro just died recently, which is pretty crazy because that dude's lived forever. I mean, this Cuban Revolution actually takes place in the late 50s, which is crazy. That he just lived that long, you know? I mean, I can't remember how old he was when he actually did his whole Cuban revolutionary thing, but he had to be, I imagine, at least in his 20s. So it's just crazy that he lived till he was like 90-something, right? So that would make him, I can't math and play games at the same time. So that make him born in like the 20s, right? I think? Yeah, pretty crazy though. But yeah, I guess I will say though, I'm not going to get too much into like politics in this show, mostly because, you know, that's not really what the show's about. The show's about having fun, you know? But that said, he's definitely a controversial figure. I mean, like with a lot of dictators, I think largely whether or not you think he was a good guy or a bad guy depends on what side of the issue we're on. You know, if you supported him, then of course he was a good guy. But if you were one of the people, or one of the political groups that, you know, were not quite so favored under his regime, then yeah, you're probably not quite as fond of Fidel Castro. But at least we're playing as Che Guevara, right? But everybody likes Che Guevara, considering how marketable he is on t-shirts, right? So it's okay. The tank. This was always my favorite thing as a kid, was getting into the tanks. Like, that blew my mind when I was little. Like, you gotta understand, like, you couldn't just get into tanks back in the day. Like, the fact that you can get in tanks, you can swim, like, this game is crazy innovative for its time. But yeah, so the thing about the hostages that I explained earlier and then kind of got distracted, oh god, the spread is so good with the tank. Flamethrower is pretty good too. Like, unlike Contra, I actually like all the weapons of this. Like, I can't really think of a bad weapon. Really, I'm just gonna probably play it by ear and keep those. But yeah, so the hostages, if I save them, I get 1,000 points. If I shoot them, I lose 500 points. But more than that, like I said, I want to, I want to save the hostages because I want to be a good guy, right? I mean, you know, like I said, your opinion on the morality of the characters notwithstanding, I'm going to try my best to save the hostages if I can help it. Oh, really? Okay, interesting. So so one of the reasons why I was playing this is I knew that this was, you can actually get infinite game overs. Oh, shoot. But it looks like that I may, not be able to get infinite game overs. We'll see. I'll just go as far as I can. I may not even play for the full 3 hours tonight because, you know, Christmas is coming up and I got other crap to do. But we'll try to make it work. What I'll probably end up doing, honestly, is just doing save states whenever I get to the end of a level. And if I, have to save state, then I have to save state. But yeah, there's a little trick that if you have 2 players on this, and thanks for pointing that out, chat, because I actually assumed that it was if you had 1 player too. But you can actually get infinite continues as long as you have 2 players. Jeez, I can't even shoot this guy. Okay, I did it. Alright, so I guess we are going to go ahead and hit up the save. See, look at the obviously, like, that's obviously Cuba. I mean, they have landed successfully on the island. Fight to take over the capital. Alright, how do I save this one? Have I saved an NES ROM before? I'm not entirely sure. Save state? Save state. There we go. Alright, we'll figure this out. There we go. Oh, it's paused. Alright. Just wondering what's going on. Ah, saved them. Get out of here. Save these hostages first. Oh, no! It's probably not worth dying twice to save the hostages. Ah, geez. See, I'm already turning bad. What's T? Okay, this one's good. So it's a missile that when it impacts, it splits into 3. Problem is, it's very difficult to save hostages with a weapon like that. Spread is so good with the, I can kill the pig too and get more points. Chat, could you help me out actually? Does extra points give you more lives? Because I'm already down 1 continue. I'm curious if, that's gonna mess me up later on in the stream. But we'll see. We're just kind of playing it by ear. This is going to be a little bit more casual of an episode. So I guess I can go and talk about my schedule. But, so this is going to be my last episode of 2016. Because next week will be Christmas. And the week after that, I'll be on vacation. And it'll also be New Year's Day, too. So it's not really great. Oh, no, I couldn't save him. Shoot. Oh. I can't blow up the bridge and get the tank across at the same time. Oh, that's another cool thing, too. The people can actually surrender. The problem is all these guys are jerks, and chances are if they surrender, they'll just turn around and shoot you anyway. Every once in a while, they'll actually do a legit surrender, but it's rare. No, pig! Pig! Oh, I missed it. But yeah, anyway, so, after tonight's episode, I will be gone for 2 weeks, but I am planning on coming back afterwards, of course. No idea what game I'm going to play at that point. As you all know, I kind of figure out my schedule on the fly. But the 2 weeks that I'm off should give me enough time to research something cool and interesting, so we'll see. Well, it'll be something fun. Ah, shit. I really need to try to get past this level without getting game over if I'm going to have a chance of, beating this. Not having that 2-player trick is going to make things tough. Pretty much I've only beaten this game actually using the 2-player trick. But yeah, using save states it might not matter. Well, the thing is though, I've already gotten it, like I've already saved it with this, you know. I've already save stated it after getting game over. That's a problem. So we'll see. If I can get past this without dying, it should be alright. Because I'd hate to have to reload a really old save, but yeah. Oh hey, 1 up. That's just what I needed. Yeah, and it's just weird to me, like, how good the quality of this game is. Like, you know, especially with games that are this old, that were made, you know, in the 80s, it's hard to find information about how and why they were developed, or, like, who worked on the project. You know, I tried to do some research on this beforehand. Oh, jeez, I threw that grenade right at the hostage. Sorry, hostage. I didn't mean it. Anyway, so it's always difficult to find information about old games, but this one in particular was difficult, and I can't help but wonder if it's because either it wasn't really popular, like, it was reviewed well when it came out, but maybe it just didn't sell much. But also, maybe the Cuban references probably made it, they probably didn't get advertised quite as much as some other games. But anyway, it was actually, like, I couldn't really find any information about why this was developed, like, why, who decided, like, hey, we should make a game about the Cuban Revolution, which, I mean, not that making a game about the Cuban Revolution is really that bad, but really, at that point, it's still too soon. Like, history hadn't really judged whether it was a good thing or a bad thing yet, I think. Because it was the late 50s, and this game probably came out in, like, 80-something? Well, I don't know. I guess that really depends on your perspective, I guess. But considering that Castro was still alive and reigning. I mean, hell, he was alive until 2016, so... I don't know. Tough to judge that one. It's not like making a game about World War I, where it's like... Or World War II. I mean, that's part of the reason why World War II is such a popular subject to make games about, because it's obvious who are the good guys and the bad guys in that one, Fortunately, in most conflicts, that's not really how it works. Usually the sides are a little bit more unclear. Because, yeah, even, like, I did a bit of more research on the Cuban Revolution to prepare myself for this game. And, I was surprised at how murky I thought it was, honestly. Because I always knew that, Castro was, a very questionable political figure. But really, if you look at the history, he was fighting against somebody who was equally, if not more so, questionable. So, it's one of those things where it's like, tough to judge, I guess. Because it's like the monster he was fighting against was also bad, so it's like, I don't know. Ah, shoot. See, I've already got another game over, though, so that's the thing, is like, if I save state, if I keep save stating with game overs, I'm eventually gonna run out. We'll see. Maybe I just need to get good. That's really the problem here. Toss some grenades over these walls. But yeah, I also really like the fact that you have a bullet and a grenade. It's surprisingly a lot of depth to the combat, if you will, of this game. Because the bullets are obviously better to shoot people with, but the grenades can arc over the barriers. So that makes it easier to get the guys out from under corners. And you got these, like, trenches, too, which help. Still looks fine on my end. Uh-oh, not the tank. Are you watching on Twitch this time? Oh, jeez. Oh, this guy's really, he's really kicking my butt. I'm gonna have to use some hit and run tactics here if I'm gonna be successful at this game. Alright, well that's level 2, and I've gotten a game over on each level, so I'm assuming that's not gonna go well if I set the city free. Enemy attack is getting stronger. You must advance and fight the enemy. If I get a game over every time, I'm probably not gonna make it. Alright. Oh, okay. It looks like, okay, there's a separate code for one player infinite lives. Hold A and B to continue after game over. See, I kind of figured there was. Yeah, that's probably what I was remembering, because now that you mention it, I remember being able to button mash and still continue, I guess. So that's probably what it was, is we accidentally inputted the code on infinite lives. Well, that's nice, because I guess that way that means I don't have to use save states. I mean, I don't know. I never really cared, especially when I'm playing games on this show, I don't really care too much about, proving my amazingness at the game. So if the game has, like, I'm gonna try to beat the games as legitimately as possible, of course, as I said before, but if there's a way to continue infinitely, legitimately in the game, I mean, it's based off an arcade game, too, which if it was an arcade game, I could just enter quarters in, so I don't really mind too much. I mean, especially with a game like this, if I just started over and just played the same level over and over again, I don't see how that would be fun or interesting. So I will just blow through it, is the plan. Do I want that? Yeah, might as well. The flamethrower is nice. It's short range, Looks like the stream may be down, though. I don't know. I guess I'll have to pause it and check here in a second. Oh, jeez. Why can't it just work? Let me, clear all these guys out so I don't die when I come back. Alright, gonna take a quick break and check the stream. You can listen to this awesome music while we wait. And if you're watching the video after the fact, then you can just skip ahead, I guess. But you can't right now. Actually, no, I'm also gonna take a second to turn it down a touch. This game seems awfully loud to me. Let's do like that. Yeah, it's definitely offline. Alright, you know what? I'm just gonna cut it here and come back here in a second. I think. Why is it not coming up?